Hello, everybody. Mind's Eye Visual Guitar Methods here, back again with another lesson that I think is really cool. A Pentatonic Safari is what we are about to embark on. Before we get there, a couple of things to start the lesson. We are broadcasting from a man cave, so forgive the background appearance that I couldn't get any way to get my background blank out thing happening, so that's that. But what does that matter, really? I guess, right? And we'll be using a nicer, clear guitar fretboard. I rearranged my Strat. I freshened up the strings and I gave it a new gauge, a lighter gauge, and a new setup, so everything is back to where it should be. And I like the way it plays and sounds. So the benefit is a clearer fretboard for you guys than my what I love to play, my Tree of Life. I just love the neck on that guitar, like the way how thin it is and everything. But anyways, Strat it is because of the cool quack we got going. And I mean, it's not very quacky, but it's better than it was, so I'm pretty happy. That being said, we've also got new sound, if you've heard. There's a little overdrive on there and a lot of echo and delay just to enhance our sound experience here, make it a little more pleasing. And to me, a lot of great guitar exploring what the guitar can do is about getting a good sound. I mean, think of some of these guitar teachers. Look at the sound on their guitar; it is really good, like Jens Larson or something like that. But anyways, to really enhance the style and genre that they're playing as well. So that being said, there's that. And we did that with a whole bunch of extra. I'm going through my VST now. I had to spend weeks and hours getting all this to work together. I'm still having glitches, but today I came up with something that I think is keeping the computer a little more common glitch free. That being said, I'm going to try and do the lesson the way I wanted to. By once we get to exploring, we are going to be able to hear, and by here I mean on keyboard, another new capability I wanted to mention that came from recording with the VSTs. So that being said, I have to do a couple other things here. I have to get a window open that I forgot to open. Oops. Always on top. Fit window to content. I hope that didn't screw anything up. All right. So, yeah. That means I'm going to have to, we're going to have the capability of using some keyboard sounds to really enhance what the guitar can do. And maybe a little experiment might come along. Earlier, I was trying something out just on guitar, and it wasn't really coming through. And we're going to see if it sounds better with a keyboard, making it kind of moving to the point where maybe it's better to really move forward on guitar and get some of your ideas, or be able to get sounds in your ears the same way these really experienced players do by playing with other instruments, to really get the flavor of what the intervals you can play on guitar, what they will do, and how they reflect off the the sounds and the chords of the moment, chord tones, stuff like that. Anyways, before I start really going off speaking strangely here, let's get into the lesson. So here we go. To start with, I'll explain what we're going to see and what my charts mean. So what we have here is the pentatonic shape that we are going to be playing, in the notes where I'm going to be referencing it from in this lesson. And that's because if you started on A, you get all the whole notes. Or you can say, well, you're starting on C if you consider this C major. But we're going to get into that. So anyways, A minor pentatonic, starting from the A note, 5th fret, low E string. So, okay, cool. The pentatonic box, everyone is trying to escape, and there are now more and more lessons every day about escaping the pentatonic box, and I've kind of gone away from that. I remember clearly being in that realm where my thought process was, oh my gosh, so all this other stuff is happening and I'm stuck in the pentatonic box. But you can do everything that you're hearing with the pentatonic box under your fingers. It's just a concept. It's not something you're stuck in per se if you really think about it. And this concept can fall in all kinds of places conceptually on the fretboard. And in the major scale, there are three pentatonic systems that happen naturally in every pentatonic and every major scale. So which covers the three minor and major modes. But you can see that on my other lessons. So there really is no breaking out of that pentatonic box. But what you can do with it and should do with it is explore it deeper and see really what it can offer. And in the beginning, I guess because it's just the easy way to teach it, all you people ever really dive into and miss the rest, it seems, is they go into minor and major. Root the pentatonic from the A, or make a root happen from the C. The bass player is playing a root. The keyboard is playing a C major chord. Or the A minor, in the same concept of other instruments, elucidating the A tonality, the A root, the atonal gravity. Then it becomes, these characteristic tool. And it's kind of interesting already that just the same set of notes becomes major and minor, but you learn why in the major third and all this stuff. Okay, so what if we explore beyond that? What if we want to root the D? Or what if we want to play this shape with an E as the root or a G as the root? What does it sound like? We should explore that. Is it good? Is it bad? Does it suck? That's our Pentatonic Safari for today. You could almost consider this like 5 different modes of the pentatonic, because we're like pulling out modes of the major scale. We're picking we're starting, we're going to introduce tonal gravity to each of the scale's representative notes. Now, that being said, don't confuse this with another, there's a whole nother conceptualization where you can put these pentatonics up and have them express the actual modes of the major scale, the Mixolydian, the Dorian, and everything else. And that's not really what we're doing here today. So let's just keep that out of your mind. So if there seems to be some confusion there, then that's what that's about. And don't worry about it. I just thought it would be interesting to bring that up. It's a way to think about this. So how does this work? How are we going to conceptualize it? Well, we're going to do it with this square here. And it seems like, what kind of weird braille bunch of colors is this? It doesn't make any sense at first. But up and down here in the vertical row, A, C, D, E, and G, are all the notes of our pentatonic scale. I didn't fill out the rest. It's just a repeat of these same 5 notes. We know that. Okay. So this will represent the roots. If we call the root A, of course, then we have to think about what all the notes operate. They all operate against this chosen tonal gravity point, right? Consider these like 5 points of tonal gravity. Very typically, this shape is associated with minor. So in this case, we're in A minor because that's where we're putting our shape today on the 5th fret. Put your root on C, and that's considered the major pentatonic. Now D, it's kind of not explored or classified or anything because it has no third, but that leaves you with some cool options as a composer or a soloist to add in the thirds yourself for some variety. So that's a neat little kind of tool that happens there. And then we have a minor tonality with a weird augmented note that we're going to, or we can even consider it a flat 13. We're going to experiment like that using a keyboard where we can really bring out those flavors, so it's as if we're comping. Now, that being said, or it's as if not we're copying, but like as if that was what was being comped on the piano is what we're going to experiment with. Like, what if someone was just playing like the root 7, a flat 7, flat 13, or with the minor, so like a minor flat 13 chord. And that brings up the topic that one ingredient that we're missing here is um, rhythm. And with rhythm comes cool places to put the notes and put the steps to really organize your playing from noodling into a statement. Um, and the rhythm gives you limited choices. Like, you've got, it's gonna this chord is gonna happen over 8 beats, and then you're going somewhere else. So it provides you with a new level of options to put notes in that are going to lead to the future chord, which may not do anything if there is no future chord. They might just sound like added in weird notes. So that being said, that's one thing. That's one thing that's missing from an exploration, and you may want to find a way to include in your exploration is some kind of backing rhythm with these. And I could do that because it's all coming out of my DAW if I plugged in a rhythm. But I was having so many problems with the sound. I don't want to tax my system any more than it is. So from A minor, let's just get right into it. But as quick as I can, we chose colors for this chart here. Our root is brown, like an earth tone, where gravity is. So I tried to make some like logical sense to these colors. And plus, like I want to be able to, when I'm thinking about jamming, I don't always want to go back to the root like a safe zone. I do want to go back to the root when I really want to, take some uh, I need to bring everything resolved back home, give a sense of coherentness. Especially if I've been outside somewhere, or pushing the boundaries or recovering from a mistake, I may want to know where this root is. So it's not a flashy color that doesn't always draw me to it, like as if green, go here. But that's the fifth is maybe a better choice in the mix of an improvised run to you'll like the sound of it when you hear it, I think. And of course, we know it goes right along. It's the most coherent note with the root, but it also works to always pull. That's the farthest away that wants to pull back. Well, technically, the flat fifth is the farthest away from the root. But anyways, the fifth, has that harmonic series that George Russell went crazy over. So we just know all about the fifth, or hopefully you will be learning all about the fifth if you're a super beginner. So that's a green note. And the first thing on the planet, outside the gravity ground is the green vegetation. So that's what we did there. Then you've got for your daily mood, you've got your sky to look at, and that is the color of our thirds here, which create happy or sad, a little gray and misty for flat third, and bright blue for a bright blue sky for our major third. Our steps or our upper chord extensions, or our suspension notes if you're thinking chordally, if you're thinking melodically, if you're thinking harmonically, whatever. I just chose gray for those as their own kind of special but subdued meaning there. That's just going to typically operate as a step to get to these colored tones, which are going to, because our exercise here is also us trying to hone in um, our skill at making coherent sounding, less noodly lines. And that's lines that where you're spelling a chord, taking little trips to and from chord tones is kind of maybe a good way to describe um, ways to sound less noodly. So um, this is how you can definitely do that. So there's great practice and knowledge all in one lesson here, which I think is really cool. So we get the 4, 5, and flat 7, and so we got one stepping stone in our minor um, concoction here, and we get a 5. Okay, nice strong tone, and the flat 7. So that it all makes sense. Root flat third 5 is going to provide us with our minor triad. And we have kind of the 4 and the flat 7. Oh, flat 7 being black, being outer space there. Weird spicy note is purple. And when you come to chords, even though this is a gray stepping stone note, when it comes to chords, the 6 is kind of important. Although this doesn't lead into the 6 is really important in the Barry Harris method, but we don't get to lead into that too much here. Maybe I'll kind of show you why, but okay, anyways, well, since I brought it up, I mapped out the diminished chords, and we don't get a 6 with a flat 5. We get a 6 with every time the 6 comes around, it's with a regular 5. So we don't really get to any, like, a secret entrance into the Barry Harris method. We don't get that, which would have been cool, but just not the case. Okay, but what did Coltrane, was it, that used the pentatonics all over the place and in different unusual ways? Okay, so, and that's pretty obvious and basic. So let's set a chord up and take a listen. So I'm going to go with a low A note to start with. Get the sustainer on here. All right. Now we want to go and add in a C and an E. All right. So we'll put in a higher C. So there's our basic A chord happening. Let's get over to our sheet for A, actually. So the yellow shows us which line we're on. And this chart here, which, sorry I didn't put this up. Let me not teach over the chord. We're going to have to do that again, though. But this chart shows us when we jam where we are. So you can learn that while you, like let's say you go... And you like that. You thought that had a good ending. Well, you ended on the green note. The 5. You say, okay, that's how a 5 sounds when I end. Let's end on a light blue note and see what happens. So kind of unresolved there, but we don't have the chord for context, so we kind of need to do that again. All right, not bad. So that is the landing on the flat third, a chord tone. And that's landing on the flat 7, even though it's not playing in the chord. But it kind of wants to go... That's a leave you hanging note for sure, because it wants to go... Now let's go to that again. Leave you hanging, and then go to a stepping stone. It kind of worked. It could do something, but if you wanted to leave them hanging... And there's our resolve at the 5, right? So, stepping stone. Chord tone. So there I'm at a 4. But I'm not done. Signified I was done by getting to the root. Let's add in the 4 now. Well, let's add in the flat 7 first. That's probably your most common additional note here to create the C major with an A root. That 7 takes on a new character. Still wants to pull to the 1. root. Let's add in that 4, but we're going to do it way up high, and that would be here. My take there is that all the notes kind of took on maybe a little less. There was a little less distinction between the notes once the chord was a complete pentatonic chord, a 5-note chord hanging out there. So let's actually just do one more experiment where we go root 4 and 7. How about A, D, and G? So we'll do that again. We'll get a low root going to signify our A, and then we'll even add an A up higher than that to really get ourselves into A, and then we'll go to D and G way up high. So let's put a D way up there, like here, and a G. So this scale should still work. There's our root. So what I did there was choose a flat third, walk up to a regular third, because remember, we don't have a third playing in our chord right now. Get a lot more freedom around that 3 now. You can see that's right where the plus sign is right now. That 3 right there, or the 3, anything after that light blue note. Even a 6. Root, major third 7. Even if that's the chord that's playing. See, they all work. Chordal, major, minor. Really get some blues in there. And I think because there's no 5th in there, you get some flexibility on the flat 5s. So right there is a lesson in just taking something normal and learning how to make it a lot more flexible and cool. So if you take the, you can use this pentatonic. It doesn't have to be A minor. It can be A, what would you even call that? We had an A. There was no third in there, so it's kind of like a suspended, but that was way up high, so it was like A. You could almost think of it as A11, 13, but we weren't saying major or minor, so maybe it is A suspended 13. I don't think there is such thing as a... Well, no. There's no 13 in there. What am I talking about? Wait. Stop. The 6 would be a 13. My apologies. My bad. My going into idiot land. So we have a flat 7 playing. So that was just like a... yeah, the flat 7 is going to be the flat 7 no matter where we play it. So it was sort of just a suspended chord, or maybe like an 11 without the thirds or the fifths. I don't know how to really conceptualize that chord, but even without being able, with no way to put it in solid terms, I could still describe it to another musician, I'm sure, and I could still create something cool with it. So that's all that really matters. All right, let's move down to. I mean, being technically correct is nice and all, but so there's where your $1 million college education came from. I know it's not $1 million. I just exaggerated. Okay. Um, or I mean, comes in handy. Okay, never mind. So too many points. Major, totally different aspect here. And this, I didn't really ever conceptualize or think about until I made this chart, is that there's a 6 in there, and that leaves me open to play a major 6 chord instead of. As a matter of fact, there's no 7 in there. So if I played a C, because remember C is our root now, same A pentatonic minor shape, but now it's considered C major because we know that that root makes it major. Okay, and remember that's the relative major and minor of the A minor scale or the C major scale. Those are both relative major and minor to each other. A and C, and that works for every pentatonic scale you place on the fretboard. You can make that the 6 and the 1 of any key, or basically conceptualize it as that. Not only that, this correspondence here, this relationship between Aeolian minor and Ionian major, A and C, A minor and C, is the same relationship for the 2 chord and the 4 chord, which is 2 minor and 4 major in the major scale. The 2 minor chord, so between D and F would be a pentatonic scale, and that's right here, F and D. Okay, no, right here, sorry. D and F. D minor, F major. I knew that. I messed it up. And then the third one in there would be the third and the fifth, Phrygian and Mixolydian, a minor and major relationship. And so you can see the relationship between, not only between the 6 and the 1, but between the 2 and the 4 and the 3 and the 6, both pretty common flowing chords and chord progressions. But okay, and that may or may not be the reason why. It's just a correlation there. So C major. So we got to hear this, but we need to try like root and 6. And it's another thing you can know where you're, get to know where all your. Another thing about this practice is, and it's a big thing, it's knowing where your intervals are compared to your root. So like, someone says, oh, this chord has a 6 in it. Well, wasn't too long ago that for many, many years I looked at my fretboard and been like, 6. Where's that? No. Can you give me a note name or something, sir? Yeah. No. There's a 6 right there. Makes a tritone. But here we have a major third, so it would actually be this chord. Put a 5 in there and you get this. Very pretty chord, I think. And there's another elegant one with putting the major 7 in there. But maybe that adds a little bit, takes some of the formality. There's like a formalness, like a dance party, a dinner party, with the flat 7. To me, the 6 is like a happier, freer, happier out on a sunny day, walking in the park. Or laughing in the rain or something. All right. So, yeah, there's that. So if you got a 6 chord, you can use major pentatonic on it now, and you will be in business with an extra. You'll be playing a 2, a 3, and a 5. Well, provided it's a major 6 chord. If it's just root and a 6 or something. But anyways, all right. So let's play this on the old keyboard here. So we got to get a low C happening. Ooh, that one's real low. There's our C. There's our gravity. We have achieved gravity. So what are we going to add in here? Well, let's start with just E and G for a regular. That would be here and here. Ending on a stepping stone there, because the next phrase was going to take that stepping stone down into real resolve. Secondary resolve to the 5. The farthest kind of resolve there, the 3rd. Hammer in between chord tones. Hammer in between a stepping stone. It gives that ending feeling because you're ending on the roots. That ends on a stepping stone. And I took it back to a 5. Let's add in a flat 2 and see what happens. Not too bad. Seems like we have some freedom on that one. We can't land on it. No, that won't work. But we can definitely travel to the root. We can travel to that note. As long as we resolve it to a strong tone. Can turn it into something else. And that depends, like, where, if we're going somewhere where that's involved, that's going to make a lot more sense. Try a sharp 4. Here we go. That's open for business. And what are we doing when we add the sharp 4? If you said making it Lydian, well, very good. Every kiss begins with K. There's a commercial jingle. How about a flat 3rd? That should clash pretty bad. But as long as you resolve it. Here's to the resolving that 3rd slide to the 5. Oh, sorry. Yeah, can't resolve to that flat 2, but you can resolve to the roots. All right, so let's add in some higher extensions now. We've got the root, the third, I think the 5. So now we need that 2 and that 6. So we'll need an A and a D. So we're going to have a 9 and a 13 chord happening. Let's make it happen. What do we need here? We need a D and an A. So we got the D. Hear the Emerson, Lake and Palmer in there. Carnival number 9 melody line. Wrong notes. Well, that 2 really rings good now. The 5 is a little obscured, probably because of that A. 5 into the 6, 2 into a 3, All right, so you can go a little more sparse with that chord. C, a low C, high E, and then we just want like maybe an E to bring in the 3rd, and then we want the 6. So we want a root 3/6 chord. Should kind of double as a 13-ish. If you were comping, it'll sort of work, I think. So that 3rd is E. We need a higher up E. That's a D. It's going to be an E. And then we're gonna need an A. All right. Don't be afraid to take these into the other pentatonic shapes. And you might say, well, let's hear this a little more and then I'll talk. There's a 2, there's a 3, a 5, it's how a 6, the flavor of a flat 7. Not too bad, regular 7. So it sounds like you get a cool chord. Let's kind of play something that would go along with it. No. when I play an A minor chord, I get that 6 in there. It's like a root 3-6 with a 6 root. But it's an A minor chord. What do you know? Let's get out of here. All right, so there's that. When the seems that when the chord tones, the melody or the background harmony, the chords are sparse but rich with color tones, being that 6 is in there instead of a usual 5 or a 7, then you get some ability to solo with a cool amount of freedom in there too, it seems. And we haven't even added in a beat, which would have made more sense, to landing on chord tones and then crossing over the gut notes here being the 4s, the 7s. And you get you get a neat variety pack there too. That everything is like the choice of 4s, the choice of 7s, instead of a half and half. So it's like you really got a like a workshop there. Of your 4s, which one do you want to elucidate in your solo? Of your 7s, what statement are you trying to make? Are you trying to make a more so if we had a I trying to make a or a sounds a little more congruent with the regular 7. Kind of suggesting Mixolydian playing a major chord with a flat 7. So if I had done this chord maybe, that note is going to ring out as the right one, flat 7. Taking the C major into a C7. Anyways, it's dominant 7. So anyways, let's move on here to note 3rd and see what that can do, and get on here a little quicker too, because got to make this lesson happen. But the beautiful thing is here, this computer is not locking up with the sounds, and I found out what it was. It was apparently, but let me not jinx this right now, but it seems to be the Contact 7 was too resource heavy. All right. So D as a root here. All right, pentatonic. I like that just with the root. All right, I was having a good time there because I started thinking about, I was off thinking about my job tomorrow, and I forgot I was giving a lesson. Okay, so here we are, and you know what I never did? I'm such an idiot. Oh, I only did it one time. That's good. I thought I'd skipped it twice, but I wanted to move my, forgot to move the diagram so we could see what the hell's going on here. So here we got no 3rd. We can get a flat 7, 9, and 11 in here. And we get our choice of messing with the 3rds, and here they are. So, then the question becomes, where are they? Notice all these, intervals keep jumping around on your fretboard. This is what you want to be able to know. And earlier I had said that I was going to stop talking at some point while I was jamming. What I was going to bring up is when I had said that you can go into other pentatonic shapes And you should say, well, Mark, but then I'll get lost. You know, you're telling me everything based on this shape. Well, just always know the pentatonic for its constituent parts. There's this shape here, the rectangle here, and then there's like the tic-tac-toe box here, starting with D and E, G, A, C, and D again. So anytime you got that, it's the same pattern. So if I was up here going, well, let me get the right place. There's 2, 4, 5, flat 7, just like the bottom of that diagram, but I'm way up here at this pentatonic shape where you have to slide down, and then your tic-tac-toe box is above. When I did this, you might ask yourself, well, how do I know what I was just bending there? Well, because I'm above this shape, my fretboard down here on the basically D and E. I'm here at the top of my tic-tac-toe box because it's the only other shape in the pentatonic, and they just keep on stacking over each other. So I knew I was bending from a 2 into a flat third. So speaking of flat third, let's try that. So that's a 5 in the bass. Stepping stone, 4, 5, root. You've heard that in a Robert Plant song. Darkness, darkness, be my pillow. That's what that is. Perhaps an old trick. So with a flat third, I'll add in a regular 6. Does anybody know what I'm playing? With the exception of the messed up third there. That is, I'm playing in D Dorian. How do I know? It's the Aeolian shape with a D root, because since I'm Aeolian is the key of C, and the key of C, a D root equals the D, the second tone of the scale. Second tone is Dorian. So yeah, it's D Dorian, and it's got a 6 with a flat third. Hallmarks of D Dorian. And a flat 7. Flat 6. Works to make it, but all I'm doing is droning a D root, so I have a choice of doing anything with this pentatonic. I can get into all 3 modes. I can get into Dorian. I can get into this is probably Aeolian. Aeolian has the flat 6 with a flat third. That's its difference between Dorian. Now, if I go, I can take this pentatonic into Mixolydian. For sure. Turn a mistake there into something. All right, so we got to add in some notes here before I lull you guys all to sleep. So let's get the 2 and the 4 in there, just to because 5 and flat 7, it's going to really kind of just continue doing the same thing here. Although with the flat 7 and the 5, we can still bring it through, because there's no 3rd and no 6th, we can bring it through all of those modes. Now, what we're going to do here is, so we can consider this like using the 3rd note of the pentatonic, like your basically universal modal pentatonic, where you could switch in theory into 3 different keys. Well, 2 other different keys, because one is the key that you're in per se. I mean, let's say you were in, you had originally been using this scale in relationship to A minor or C major. So now we are established in the C major scale. And then you go to D. Now you're playing in D Dorian if you have all the same gut notes you've been using for A minor and C major, all the same gut notes. Gut notes being the notes that exist inside the framework of pentatonic. Okay, so Aeolian. Well, if you switch it to that, which is so we were in D Dorian, so that should be that's now D. What did we say that was? With a flat 6, that should be D Aeolian. Yeah, because that's like, there's your D. 6, 7 root, 6, 7 root, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you get that, you get the ability to travel to D Aeolian, which is what D is in relationship to F major, so you're sharing 6 notes, or you get to D Mixolydian, which is that would be the 5 of G. So yeah, another you're sharing you're using the 2 scales that share 6 notes from the you're moving the key a 4th or a 5th away from itself. All right, so just a ton of cool stuff you can do there. Let's add in the 2 and the 4, like we said, the E and the G. You need the E, you need a G. So now you can see all the pentatonic shape will work over that chord. So I mean, the implications of this are that the keyboard plays this, you know, somewhat unusual chord. Well, it's a D root, and I've got an E and a G ringing out. I don't even know what those are. Well, that's the 2 and the 4. Okay, your stepping stone notes, and it all falls into a pentatonic. It leaves you with the 4, the 5, and the flat 7, which are always going to be consonant notes. Not always, I guess, but minor. Major. There it is. I threw the 6 in there to All right, so I think we've showed, you know, that was really the coolest thing I think I found here. Let's get to this E here and see what that sounds like before the mosquitoes really tear me up. All right, we got to get that low E drone going here. All right, so with low E, we can go. I'm going to try to just turn that keyboard up a bit. Hold on a second here. That should be over here. And then over here. And there we go. All right. Get back to my screen now. Beautiful. There we are with our cursor. All right, so we are on, sorry for not changing, minor. And this is what we got. And you can see this purple note. Sounds like a purple note. Now, so you don't get a lot of really positive vibe with this. And this could be why this particular root isn't really explored a lot. You do get a minor triad. You get root, E, G. You don't get a 5, but you get the flat 7 in there, and you don't really need a 5 per se. So you get like a minor 7 comping voice in there for sure. E, G, and D. There we get a mosquito bite, and you got this chord happening there. So it's kind of very ambiguous sounding because we got a lot of just random intervals that don't really have anything kind of, you know, not making any coherent statements there. Let's try to add in some of these upper extensions though and see what happens. So we've got our E drone playing. Let's get that C playing. And why don't we start with the D, and then we'll play the C. You know what though, that was kind of dumb because that's going to clash pretty bad. So why don't we start that again? So we need a E. And we're going to just use a C up high. So we got a root. Should we do the flat third in there? Why don't we do that? Why don't we add in the flat third, which is a G. And then up high we'll add the C. So here we have a flat 13, a minor flat 13 sound. Oh, it's kind of like the moo chord from Steely Dan. So now that it's ringing in the chord, you can hear how that becomes more stable as a landing tone. Bending into the 4 sounds pretty good from the minor third. There's our root. Doesn't sound like much of a root. So I can see how that one sounds kind of tough. A little, you got to do some work to make that one sound good. Let's move on. But there's probably more to explore with that one for sure, especially if I would have added in the 4th in there. I can get a minor with a 4, which doesn't really happen in any, well, I guess in the, you could do that with the with A minor too. So okay, let's move down to the 3rd. Here's our final one because I'm getting bitten by mosquitoes bad, and so we got to call this party done. And I got to get in my van and think about whether I'm going to quit a job tomorrow that I just don't want to do anymore. It's horrible, and nothing I can tell you guys about, but doing some heavy duty home improvement type work, and it's not working out very good. Okay, no 3rd, G. Let's go. We need a low G. We need a low G. So what else do we want? We got a 6 we can put in there. We got a 5. We got a 4. No 3rd. So let's go for our 5. We'll go throw our C and our A in there and see what happens. And this is what you can do. Just experiment with all the different variations of different chords in there. So we need an A. And a C. And remember, you can make a composition with the weird chord we made from D, the weird chord we made in G, maybe throw an E in there, and something passing, and it'll all work. And so let's root 6 sounds good. Even the stepping stones sound good. But it sounds good to end on a green. It almost, for some reason, is sounding like the 2 is the tonic. And I don't know why, but so something to experiment with, but it's kind of going back to A minor there. Maybe we need a stronger G. Maybe we need a G up high. Oh, because I'm putting an A in there. Well, that one's still going to A, so we can do better, but I'm getting eaten up by mosquitoes. But this lesson came out better than all the other ones, 8 million ones I recorded of it. So I'll leave you guys with this one and get out of here before I get bitten anymore. And thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed our Pentatonic Safari and you got what we were getting at. And you see all the value practicing like this can do and how many mosquito bites you can actually get when you sit around in a pool of mosquitoes. Okay, so thanks for watching, everyone. You guys are awesome. We're going to see you next time here on Mind's Eye. And I've got a ton more stuff. It's just, can I get to making these videos? Yeah, I need, time to make a real YouTube channel, and I just don't have it. Okay, bye.